friends, welcome to Get Your Play Online. My name is Michelle and today we are going to be doing some more ABC Arts and Crafts. And if you have been following along with me, you'll have made A, B, and C so far. So that means today we are going to be doing our letter D. And D is for dinosaur today. So if you would like to learn all about the letter D and make this really cute dinosaur craft along with me, just follow along and keep on watching. I'll let you know what materials we're going to need today. So to make our dinosaur craft, I have a variety of materials out here. To make the paper dinosaur, you are going to need some colored paper, and you can really choose any color you want. For my dinosaur today, I'm going with green and orange. If you don't have any construction paper on you at your house, that's totally okay. You can definitely do this craft with just some white paper and some markers. And I will show you how to do that as well. So if you have construction paper, awesome. If you don't, just grab some white computer paper. We're also going to need some white computer paper to practice drawing the letter D. So you're going to need a writing utensil. You can use a pencil, markers. I have scissors here as well, and a glue stick. And that is all we're going to need for our paper dinosaur. If you are one of my younger friends following along today, we're also going to be doing a handprint dinosaur, just so even our little friends can follow along and learn about the letter D. So in order to do the handprint dinosaur, we're going to need some washable green paint, some white paper, and I'm using cotton balls today, but if you have a paintbrush, that'll work just fine as well. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to grab my white piece of paper and my writing utensil, and we're going to learn all about the letter D before we get started making our craft. So this is the letter D written out on my paper, and every letter in our alphabet makes a special sound. The letter D makes the sound D, D, just like how you would say dinosaur. If you listen to the very beginning sound when you say the word dinosaur, you can hear the letter D. Say it with me, D, D, dinosaur. Very good. So let's sing a little song together just to remember how our letter D sounds. And this is how it goes. I'll say it out loud and then we can sing it together. Ready? Every letter makes a sound. A D says D. Ready? Let's sing it together. Every letter makes a sound. A D says D. A D says D. A D says D. Every letter makes a sound. A D says D. Great job! So now we know what our letter D looks like. We know the sound that letter D makes. And now we're going to practice writing letter D. So let's grab a piece of paper, a writing utensil, and you can follow along with me to learn how to write the letter D. So I like to practice with my finger first before I go ahead and start writing, just so I can learn the movements of the letter I'm going to write. So for letter D, and for every letter, we always want to start at the top and go down. We never want to start at the bottom and go up. So for letter D, we're going to start at the top, pull down, pick up your pencil, go back to the top, and go all the way around and connect. What's so special about letter D is that your straight line and your curvy line, they're gonna touch. They're really good friends. So we want our straight line down and our curvy line around to be touching and to be connected. So let's try that again with our finger. Start at the top, straight line down, pick up, all the way around, and connect. Great job. So I think we're ready to start writing our letter D. I'm using this marker just so you guys can see me easily on camera, but if you have a pencil, that's a great way to practice too. So I like to kind of make a little dot on my paper where I'm going to put my letter and start from there. So ready, straight line down, pick up, all the way around, and connect. Great job, friends. And it's okay if your straight line is kind of poking out at the end. That is an okay way to write letter D too. So let's practice another letter D. Ready? Straight line down, pick up your pencil, all the way around, and connect. Great job. I'm going to make my last one just a little bit bigger. Let's do one more letter D together, and then we can get started on our crafting. Ready? I'm going to put my dot up here and make my letter D a little bit bigger for you guys to see. Straight line down, pick up your pencil, all the way around, and connect. Great job, my friends. Let me take a look. These all look like great letter Ds to me. I'm going to circle my best letter D so that I have something to work off of when I'm making my craft. So I really like this last one that I did. I'm going to circle it just so I have something to look at when I'm making my letter D craft. All right, so now that we know all about the letter D and how to write it, we can get started on first our dinosaur handprint, and then after our handprint, we're gonna make our little paper dinosaur. So let's go ahead and do that. So my friends, all you'll need for your dinosaur handprint, like I said, is just some washable paint. I'm using green, but if you want your dinosaur to be red, blue, purple, go for it. Your dinosaur can be any color you want. And I have one piece of white paper. And like I said, I have cotton balls just because they're easy, and you know, I have lots of cotton balls. But if you have a paintbrush, that works perfect too. And just for ease, today I have some baby wipes to wipe off my hand, just because I don't want to run off camera and go wash my hands at the sink. But baby wipes are a great idea, moms and dads, if you're doing this with your kids, just to have on hand so you don't get paint like everywhere. So I have those off to the side. So our dinosaur handprint is going to be really quick and easy. We're doing it first because we want it to dry before we go back in with a black marker at the end. So let's do our handprint first so we can let it dry while we do our paper dinosaur. I'm just dipping my cotton ball in my paint, and then you guessed it, that paint is gonna go right on our hand. So my little friends watching, you might need some help getting this paint on nice and evenly. So don't be afraid to ask mom or dad or big brother, big sister, whoever is around to help you out with this paint part. All right, and you're gonna put the paint on every single finger. For the thumb, I kind of like to go up here on the side. Just make sure you have a nice even layer of green paint, and this cotton ball is getting kind of yucky, so I'm gonna use this one. Get a nice good layer. And notice how the paint feels on your hand. My paint is pretty cold. It feels kind of funny going on. A little bit slimy. It kind of tickles. What does your paint feel like? Ooh, we got a nice green hand going on here. Okay, my friends, this is where the magic happens. We're going to make our handprint at the bottom corner of our paper. So I'm not going to put my handprint way up here. I'm not going to put it in the middle. I'm going to put my fingertips at the very bottom and in the very corner. It doesn't really matter which corner, but just the bottom corner as low as you can go. And we're going to press it down and really press in on the top of your hand so all that paint gets on their paper. Press down on your knuckles, your thumb, and really press on the top of your hand. Okay, ready? We're gonna lift off our hand. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. And I'm gonna just wipe my hand off quickly with some baby wipes. Okay, now that we have our handprint, this is going to be our dinosaur's body. And as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 legs for our dinosaur, and we have a little tail. So kind of depending on what hand you painted is going to serve for which side is going to be your dinosaur tail. Okay, I have a clean hand now. And we're actually going to go back into our paint. I'm just going to use my finger. So this is going to be the fun part. We're going to draw a neck for our dinosaur. Okay, ready? Get a good bit of green paint on your finger. And we're going to go up here towards the top of where your hand was, across from your thumb. So kind of just go opposite side of where your thumb was, and you're gonna draw a nice long neck for your dinosaur. And you can give him a little head at the top too. Great. And my paint is still kind of cold. It feels pretty slimy. Fun to play and paint with your fingers. Okay, so this is kind of what your dino should be looking like right now. Mine's got a nice long neck and a head at the top. And of course you can go back in on your hand if there's any like missing spots, just fill in with paint. Sometimes there's like some missing spots in the palm of the hand. Okay, and that is going to serve as our base for our handprint dinosaur. We're going to let him dry completely before we draw on a face. So while we're letting our handprint dry, we're just going to set it off to the side and work on our construction paper dinosaur. So this is setting off to the side. And now we are going to make this guy out of paper. So go ahead and grab your construction paper, or if you don't have colored paper, grab some white paper and markers, and let's get started on this one. So, like I said, I'm using some green paper and orange paper today to make my dinosaur. You can really use whatever colors you want or have. You know, dinosaurs, we don't really know what color they actually were. We can only take our best guess based off of science. So I like to picture that dinosaurs were really all kinds of colors. But today I am going to use green and orange. Your dinosaur could be red, purple, blue, doesn't matter. So for our letter D, first, before I even draw it out, I'm gonna fold this part at the bottom and leave this paper to make the head and the feet of my dinosaur. You see how I have some extra pieces over here? We want to leave lots of paper left over so that we have enough for our head and our feet. So I've kind of folded this much and I'm gonna cut it off and just put it off to the side and save it. So I'm cutting this piece off that I just folded. If you have an adult helper or an older sibling helper, they can help you with folding off enough paper to save. So this is about how much paper I have cut. We're setting that off to the side, and now we are going to draw our D for dinosaur. So kind of just turn your paper whichever way you have the most length, and we are going to draw a letter D. And it's okay to use marker on this one because the D is a really special letter. If you flip it around, you'll have a brand new clean side. So I'm going to, again, start at the top, make my letter D, pull all the way down, straight line down, pick up my pen, start at the top, around, and connect. Great, I'm gonna take a look at that. That looks good to me. So we're gonna make our letter D a little bit thicker so we can cut it out. We're gonna make it into what I like to call is a bubble letter. Okay, so really all you have to do is kind of draw a line out to the side and just go right along next to the line you've already drawn. It's gonna make it a little bit thicker, a little bit easier to cut out. And don't worry about the lines because, like I said, we can just flip it over and work on the clean side. Okay, so this is a good start. I want to make my D just a little bit thicker, so I'm just going to repeat that. I'm going to draw a line right next to the lines I've already made on the outside. Okay, so you should have something like this. If you're working on white paper with some markers, you are following the exact same steps, but instead of using like a pencil or black marker, you're using whatever color that you want your dinosaur to be. Okay, so same thing. If you have the white paper, draw a big bubble letter D. Make it nice and thick. And then my friends that are using marker, you're going to color in your whole letter D and cut that out. So you just color in, and this is what you use if you're not able, if you don't have any construction paper at your house. You're just following the same steps, except you do have to do the extra step of coloring in your white paper. Great, and so we just color in the whole D. Just like that. And of course, I'm doing this really quick so we can see it, but this is what yours would look like if you didn't have any construction paper and you just have white paper and markers. So now that we have our D, everyone should have their D, we're going to cut it out. So just cut along the outside lines you made, nice and slow and gentle. Last time I was making a craft, I accidentally ripped my paper because I was going too fast. So just nice and slow, cut on the outside lines of your D, and then I'll show you a really cool trick on how to cut out the middle part. Great job, almost done. Okay, so this is what I have so far. I'm gonna show you a cool trick on how to cut out the middle part. You're going to fold your paper in half, but don't crease the paper. Just kind of bend it over in the middle. And you're gonna take your scissors and cut on that fold, just a little bit of a line, okay? So that when you open it up, you have a place to put your scissors through the middle. So let's go ahead and cut out the middle part of our D. Nice and slow on this part too. We don't want to rip it. Right. Same thing for my friends that aren't using construction paper. If you've got your markers and white paper, just go ahead and cut out your whole letter D, just like this. Alrighty, so we're gonna check on the clean side, flip your D over. We're going to check and see if our lines are straight. So I can see here that this part of my D is just a little bit thicker. So I'm gonna go in and kind of even that part out. You really want to be gentle with this because there's a big hole in the middle of our paper. We don't want to totally rip our D. Okay, and I think that will do it. Yep, that looks good to me. So this is what we should all have right now. We have our D, which is going to be the body for our dinosaur. So now go ahead and pick up that paper that you reserved that we first cut off before we started cutting. And we're going to make the head and the feet out of this scrap paper. So the head is going to be a perfect circle, and there's a trick I like to use to make a perfect circle. All you have to do is cut a square. So I've gone ahead and folded my paper so that I can cut out a straight square. Set this big piece off to the side. Here's our, well, this square is a little bit wonky, but we can still make a really easy circle out of it by cutting off the corners. Kind of go in and curve off those corners like that. That's how I like to make my circles, just because they're a lot more even than if I just tried to draw a circle freehand. So I'm just going around and cutting off each corner curved to make a nice round head for my dinosaur. All right, I'm gonna go around this corner one more time. Awesome, I really like the way my circle turned out. So this is what I'm going to use as the head. We want it to be kind of a good size for our body. So we don't want it to be too big or too small. So this is kind of where my head is gonna go on my body. I think it's a pretty good size. So I'm gonna just leave it like that, set it off to the side. And now I'm going to take the rest of my scrap paper and cut out some rectangles for the legs of my dinosaur. So rectangles are pretty easy. I'm just going to cut down the side and just follow the straight line as best I can. And it's okay if they're not all the same size. We can go back later and make sure that they're all really even. And we're going to cut out 4 legs for our dinosaur. So now I have 4 long rectangles, and these are going to be our dinosaur's legs. And we're just going to, I like to line them up and just kind of cut off any extra that's on the side just to make sure they're all the same size and width and length. And let's go ahead and put these right up against our dinosaur's body, because we don't really need these really long legs for our dino. Okay, so our dinosaur today is kind of modeled off of what a stegosaurus might have looked like back in the time when dinosaurs lived. So I know that stegosaurus dinosaurs had kind of shorter legs. So I'm going to cut kind of a shorter leg off of my long rectangle so that he has some short, fat legs, because that is what a stegosaurus used to look like. And I'm just going to measure out the rest of my legs to make sure they're the same length. There we go. And it's okay if they're not perfect, because we're still going to glue them down, and you have, you can always adjust them when you glue them down too. So here we are cutting our legs. Awesome. So we have 4 little short legs for our dinosaur. And I also am going to make a tail out of the green paper. You can make your tail out of whatever color you like. I'm just going, since I have this nice long piece of scrap paper, I'm going to cut a nice long tail for my dinosaur. And I'm kind of going to make it in a triangle shape, just like this. And your dinosaur tail can be long or short or fat or skinny. This is what mine looks like. Okay, so we have the body, the head, the legs, and the tail for our dinosaur. All that's left to cut out are the little spikes for the top of his back. So I am going to set these parts aside and grab my orange paper. And we really don't need a lot of orange paper for this. So if you have like a scrap piece of paper just kind of laying around, you can totally use that. So for my little spikes, I'm gonna make a bunch of tiny little triangles. So that means I'm going to cut off a long strip of orange, or whatever color you're using today. Just try and cut down a nice and straight line so we have a nice long strip. And this is what I am going to make my little triangle spikes out of. So again, a really easy trick to make some great looking triangles is to cut squares. And I'm just gonna cut like 3 squares out of my strip. 1, 2, 3. So I have 3 squares that I cut from the same strip of paper. And here's the easy part to make a really nice looking triangle. You're going to cut diagonally down the center of your square, just like that. And it's going to make a really nice looking even triangle. It's going to make 2 triangles. And I think these triangles are going to be a little bit big for my dinosaur. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them in half. We're going to do one more cut. right down the middle of our triangle, and it's going to make two perfectly even little triangles. So we're going to keep doing the same thing. Here's my big triangle. I'm cutting it in half, right down the middle. It's going to give us some really great little even triangles. Great. Keep on cutting out your triangles, friends. We're going to need, I would say, probably about 6 or 7 triangles for our dinosaur. It really depends on how big you made your letter D for this. But I'm going to take a guess and say that I'm going to need about 6 or 7. So again, I'm taking my square, cutting right down the middle diagonally. It's going to make 2 nice triangles, and then cut those both in half. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 so far. I'm going to cut this last triangle in half. It's going to give us 8. And it's okay to have more than you need. It's better to have more than you need to have to go and cut more triangles. So I'm actually going to cut this last square just in case we need some extras. We're going to make some triangles out of this. Cut in half. And one more time, cut in half. Great, so I actually have 10 triangles now. I think that's gonna probably be more than I need, but it's easier than going back and cutting out more later. So here is where we glue everything together. Get all of your cut pieces. I got my triangles, I have my letter D, I have my circle for the head, and I have my rectangles for the legs, and one long triangle for the tail. So first, we're going to lay our D on its side so that the flat part is facing you. And I'm going to take my glue stick, and I'm going to put some glue on the head and flip it over. We're going to glue the head not really towards the bottom, but kind of in the middle, like right before the big curve on our D. And I think that's what kind of looks the best for our Stegosaurus, because if you've seen pictures of what a Stegosaurus used to look like, they're kind of hunched over and they don't have a very long neck. So let's glue it right about here, whatever looks good to you. And now I have my tail. I'm putting a little bit of glue on the back. And I'm going to glue it down here at the opposite end, right at the bottom. It's really coming together. And now for the feet, the legs, we're putting a little bit of glue. And then for the legs, I think it looks really nice if the legs go underneath the D, kind of like hiding a little bit of it. So there we have one leg. Here's leg number 2. Leg number 3. And leg number 4. Awesome. And see here, when your glue is still drying, you can kind of adjust where you want your legs to be and how long you want them. And really press down Make sure they stick nice and good. Okay, all that's left to glue is our little triangle spikes. And I'm going to kind of hold it in my hand and put glue on the back. Flip it over. And we're going to start putting our spikes on this big curve. Glue. Here. I'm actually going to put this on here, so just so we can see it a little bit better. I noticed that it's kind of hard to see on the white tablecloth. There we go. All right, keep on gluing your spikes, friends. All the way across your dinosaur's curvy back. And again, you can kind of adjust your triangles how you want them while their glue is still wet. Keep on gluing all your spikes on until you like what you have, or until you get to the tail. And I think I'm going to actually put some spikes behind the D. Kind of give it a really cool dimensional look. If you cut out a bunch of spikes and you have extras, you can do this also. Do you see how it kind of makes it look like he has lots and lots of spikes? This part is optional, friends. You can make your dinosaur really kind of look however you want. I think it's going to be really cool that everyone's dinosaur is going to be just a little bit different, depending on what colors you used, how you cut out your shapes. Everyone's dinosaur is going to be unique, and I think that's really cool. Okay, I'm going to do just one more little triangle spike. This is my last one. The last spike going on. Okay, he's got lots of spikes. So now that we've got all our spikes and all of our legs, our tail, our head, you can even go in maybe with a marker and add some spots on your dinosaur. I'm gonna just add some little dots here and there. This is totally optional, but again, I think the more creative you get, the more unique everyone's dinosaur is going to be, and I really love that. So I'm adding some little spots onto my dinosaur. And I'm going to add a couple on the tail because the tail is a little bit plain. And of course on the feet, I'm going to draw some little toenails because dinosaurs had some really interesting looking feet. So I'm just adding 3 little like curves to show that my dinosaur has some toes. And you don't have to do this part. This is just kind of the way that I like to draw dinosaurs. I think it makes their feet look just a little bit more realistic. So I'm adding some little curvy toes on my dinosaur's legs. Alrighty. And last but not least, we have the face. You can draw your dinosaur's eyes, nose, and mouth however you want. I'm gonna flip mine around here so I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. But you can draw dots for the eyes. You can draw little, you know, like a curve for the eyes. Whatever you want. Your dinosaur can be smiling, your dinosaur can be mad. Whatever you feel like your dinosaur is feeling, draw that emotion on its face. This is what my dinosaur looks like. He's kind of happy. Maybe he just had a really nice dinosaur meal. So friends, this is all the steps for our construction paper letter D dinosaur. I would love to see these. If you followed along with me today, go ahead and snap a picture of your dinosaur and post it on Facebook or Instagram, and don't forget to tag Get Your Play Online so I can see all of your wonderful, unique dinosaur creations. So now that our letter D dinosaur is all done, don't forget we have our handprint dinosaur that we have to go in and finish really quick. So let's pull our handprint dinosaur back out so we can finish it up. Let's get all this paint out of the way. Okay, so all we need to finish our handprint dinosaur is a black marker. So please ask your mom or dad or sibling, grandma, grandpa to help you with this. If you're gonna, need some help drawing with your marker. Mine is pretty dry, so I'm just gonna go right in and add a face to my dinosaur. He's gonna have a little smile and some eyes and a nose. And if you want, you can even kind of outline your dinosaur to give it, a little bit of an added effect. I'm outlining his legs, his tail, and his body, and his neck. Awesome job, guys. I really like the way my handprint dinosaur turned out. I am going to label my dinosaur and write my name on it. So if you would like to do that also, you can follow along. So let's spell dinosaur together. Up at the top, I'm going to write D, I, N, O, S, A, U, R. Dinosaur. And at the bottom, I'm just going to put my name on it because every good artist should always write their name on their work. All right, friends, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for making dinosaurs along with me today and learning all about the letter D together. If you did this craft, I would love to see how yours turned out. So definitely take a picture, post it on Facebook, Instagram, and tag us here at Get Your Play Online. We would love to see your beautiful creations. Thanks so much for tuning in this week for letter D. Next week, we are going to be doing the letter E. So don't forget to tune in next week with me so we can learn all about a brand new letter. Thanks so much for making this with me today. I hope to see you all soon and have a great day. Bye, friends.